Hey guys, welcome back to markdillon.com. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please make sure you subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So on to tonight's question, which is from Tom. He says, "Hi Mark, I discovered your videos recently and I love them. They've given me tons of helpful advice. I just turned 20 recently, and in the past few years I've dated a few people, and I've come to realize I have this strange problem with men. I get this strange feeling that people don't like me if I don't talk to them often, daily, and that feeling turns into me thinking they hate me, and I start to get nervous and anxious about it. I tend to keep it inside and try not to bring it up to people I've been with, but it causes me a lot of stress. Do you ever get anxiety or stress, and if so, how do you deal with it?" All right, Tom. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your nice comment about my YouTube channel. I really enjoy doing these things, so I'm glad other people benefit from them. And also, your email was not long. I get a lot of very interesting emails, but sometimes they are incredibly long to the point where if you printed them out, they would be several pages. But some are very interesting. And sometimes people ask me not to discuss it, but I got one recently from a priest in another country seeking advice about feeling conflicted about certain things. But uh, again, yours was not long by any means. So on to your question: Do I ever get anxiety or stress? Tom, everyone is stressed or anxious about something at some point in their lives. There is no such person in the world that is immune from stress and feeling anxious or anxiety. And anybody who pretends to be too cool and too hip and too chic and too this and too that, like nothing ever bothers them, that is a total act. I have seen some people with the biggest outwardly who have the biggest egos, and they think the world of themselves, and they're always trying to act like nothing is ever shakes them up. Sometimes when you get to know them, they're the most insecure. They need the most positive reinforcement. They're constantly concerned that somebody doesn't like them or what somebody thinks of them. um, so, listen, everybody gets stressed about something, and I'm no exception to the rule. Now, for me, I've never really been all that concerned with, in general, with just random people think of me. That I honestly couldn't care less. But that's my natural personality. But yes, when it comes to relationships or friendships or something like that, at some point, everybody, myself included, feels a little uneasy or self-conscious about something. And as far as stress, not so much now because I have a very stress-free life. But I've always worked hard. At 18, I started my own business. From 18 to probably 26, I was in a perpetual state of stress. I did well, but when you have employees, you have lawyers, you have accountants, you have taxes, you have something coming up, something this, something that. The economy goes up and down, and all kinds of stuff. So I am no stranger to stress. Um, Anxiety is different, but in terms of stress, no stranger to it. How I dealt with it, I don't know that I have a magic answer for that. But I guess the fact that I just when it comes to most things, I always, whether it be something in business or something in a relationship or something like that, I always ask myself, even if I'm right and I'm not just overreacting temporarily to some bad news, but what's the worst that could possibly happen? And when you say, in terms of a relationship, you would say, well, the worst that would happen is the relationship ends, we both move on, and I'll find somebody I'm more compatible with. Well, that's not so bad. So one way you can deal with stress is to simply look at the situation rationally, with some put your pragmatism goggles on and say, okay, what is the worst that could happen? And more often than not always, but in most cases, it's never as bad as the stress that it's causing. So I would say how you deal with stress, you should simply say, well, listen, if it doesn't work out, we'll go our separate ways, and I will be back on my journey to find somebody whom I'm compatible with. Now, as far as the constant anxiety, that's a little bit different, and that's probably caused by the fact that you have you have an emotional weakness maybe in this area, where you're a little bit unsure of why somebody wants to be in a relationship with you. You might have a little bit of a self-confidence problem when it comes to this, so you need constant reassurance. And the way that, and I'm not sure exactly if that's it. I don't know your backstory. I don't know you. Even if I did, I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. So I don't know that I would be even qualified to make that kind of an assessment anyway. But it could be that you have some low self-confidence in this area, and that's why you need the constant reinforcement. So, one way that and that's important, because that's the root cause of the anxiety, which is, and then in turn causes stress in certain situations for you. But what I would do to help combat that is I would simply say, uh, what do I do to bring, what do I bring to the table in a relationship? So you need to start addressing your strong points. Why when you're dating someone, you're an asset. You're not a liability. What do you do? What are you bringing to the table? Your personality. You're a good listener. You're a good whatever it is. What do you do that improves somebody else's life when you're in a relationship? And I think when you start to look at your own strong points rather than worrying about somebody seeing what your deficiencies are, when you start thinking, wow, I do bring a lot to the table, just as much as whatever the other person is bringing. So this relationship is reciprocal. It's not me sitting here like this, oh, I'm just thankful I have a boyfriend. I hope he doesn't leave me. No, he should also be thankful to have you, and you have to realize that. And that's sometimes easier said than done. But I think you should start to focus on it and start to think, about all the things you're bringing to the relationship, instead of worrying about somebody focusing on the flaw and not liking you and all of this kind of stuff. Uh, so that's my advice to you. I don't know that there's a magic button you can flip or switch in your brain that you flick and all of a sudden now you have self-confidence. But I want you to just start being mindful of your good qualities and start to realize, when it comes to somebody else, you're a plus to their life. And let's see, what else did you say? You say you don't feel comfortable talking to the person you're in a relationship with about this. I think once a relationship gets to a certain level, I think it's okay to start talking about your insecurities and all of that, because you'll get some positive reinforcement. Now, I don't think it's a good idea to do it at the onset of a relationship, because that might scare someone off. But when you start to trust the person and you realize you're compatible and all of that stuff, I think it's okay to open up and share some of your vulnerabilities. And that's one of the benefits of having a good relationship with somebody, is they can help you in areas that you're weak, and you help them in areas where they're weak. So yeah, that's let's see. That's the answer to your question. From my point of view, I think that it's also very important to realize that if you if you're being severely impacted by anxiety or stress to the point where you feel that it's hindering your ability to have a relationship or enjoy your life or that kind of thing, you should certainly see a qualified therapist or counselor. It would be well worth having a couple sessions with them. They'll be far more informative and helpful to you than some bozo with a YouTube channel, although this bozo is very glad you watch and flattered that you thought to ask. And another thing that I think that is worth pointing out is that once you become confident in the quality of a relationship, and you realize that it's reciprocal and you bring a lot to the table and the other person brings a lot to the table, you don't have to constantly test the waters to see how strong the relationship is. I mean, now look, I make a lot of effort to have good, high quality relationships. As I've said many times, I have a tiny social circle, but I work hard at maintaining it, meaning that I go and see my friends. I go and I keep up, I share important things with them and vice versa. But I don't have to text with anybody, no matter who it is. Even when I was, be crazy enough to be in a relationship. Very happily single. But even then, I don't have to text with someone every day just to make sure they don't forget about me, because I'm confident enough in the quality of the relationship. And that's because it's not just me being thankful that they're in my life, it's me realizing they're very happy to have me in their life as well. And that's what I hope you come to realize, that you bring a lot to the party. But again, if it's really causing you some negative, really negative impact in your life, see a counselor or a therapist, because you might need some help getting over that. So thank you for asking, guys. Thanks for tuning in to markdillon.com, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks.